Hello, world. This is All Positive Network. As everyone's heard, the great Bill Russell's passed away. Even when people get older and we see these people getting older, you know the inevitable that we're all going to leave here one day. But that still doesn't make it any easier. You know, if you get a chance to read some of the books that Bill Russell's been a part of, read the stuff that he's went through. So it's one of those things that when everyone's talking about, well, if you put such and such player back in the 60s or the 50s, they would dominate. No, they wouldn't. Because one is it's different rules. It's completely different rules than what we have today and what we had in the 90s and the 2000s and what we're going to see going forward. Because basketball, not just basketball, football, basketball, everything gets easier. Even golf, it gets easier. Tennis, it gets easier as we go on because they make the rules easier for offense, so people can watch. Because no one wants to pay to see defense. And back to Bill Russell and guys in his era, it was like, yo, if you put such and such player, put Kyrie Irving back in the 50s or 60s, he would dominate. Well, Kyrie Irving can barely put up with the stuff people are saying about him on Twitter. A guy like Kevin Durant can't handle what Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith say about him on ESPN. Now, imagine you take these guys and put them in Bill Russell's era. Now, you can't eat where your teammates eat at. You can't stay at hotels where your white teammates can stay at. On top of that, when you got guys like Michael Jordan, now you can't date white women. So you can't publicly date white women. You know what I'm saying? You can't hang out with white people. You can't go to the white golf courses. And you're thinking that, yo, if I put this guy back here, he would dominate. You know, the NBA, the flagrant foul didn't come into play until the 1991 season. That was the first year they had a flagrant foul. Back in the day, you could knock a player's teeth out. And that was a regular foul. So, stop disrespecting Bill Russell and the guys from his era, the Elgin Baylors and the Big O and these guys like that. Stop disrespecting these guys talking about you can put someone from this era back in their era. Because they not only had to deal with the physicality of basketball on the court, but they had to deal with social issues and racism. And I constantly tell everybody, you can't do the job that your grandparents was doing. We got people online constantly complaining about sitting at a desk all day, 8 hours a day. You can't work 12 hours in a hot sun up to sundown. You can't even do the work your grandmother was doing, working in the hot sun and coming home, having to prepare meals for the family. So please stop saying if you put Michael Jordan back in the 60s or you put Michael Jordan back in the 50s. That's nonsense. Michael Jordan, he wouldn't like, if you take Michael Jordan in his prime in 88 and you put him in a time machine, put him back in the 60s, and you tell Michael Jordan you can't date white women. You can't touch white women. Or now you can't go play golf on a white golf course. It would devastate him. These guys they worried about Twitter and what people saying about him on ESPN. Nah, man, it's real social issues, man. Much respect to the great Bill Russell. Much respect to him. And another thing, too, a lot of people always talking about, it's like, well, there was only 8 to 10 teams in Bill Russell's era. Well, 8 to 10 teams is more competitive than a 30-team league. Because, when you have 8 to 10 teams, you have the best of the best. And I'm not talking about in the 40s when black players couldn't play in the league. I'm talking about, I said more so in the late 50s, 60s, when you had the elite players that were playing in the league. So you got 10 teams, 10, 11, 12, 10. It was going up every year. You got 10 teams, and you got the elite of the elite players playing in the NBA. So in a 10-team league, All-Star game comes. It's an All-Star on every team. You're seeing an All-Star every night. Most teams had 2 All-Stars. Maybe only 2 teams had 1 All-Star, but every team had an All-Star. And you're seeing an All-Star on every night. You're seeing a Hall of Famer every night. So you're not getting a break off. You're not facing a team like the Sacramento Kings. You're not facing a team like the San Antonio, and the Spurs are my team. You're not facing a team like the San Antonio Spurs, what we had last season. Even though DeJounte Murray was an all-star, he filled a spot. You're not seeing that back then. So you don't get a night off. 80-game season before they moved to 82 games. You guys got to know history, man. You got to learn your history. Stop repeating stuff you're hearing on ESPN. These guys don't know history. They're shock jocks. They're shock jocks. They're paid to give their opinion and to rile you up and for you to debate the nonsense that they're saying. So yeah, man. Nah, y'all couldn't play. Michael Jordan, these guys couldn't play in Bill Russell's era. It's not even just about the basketball. It's about the social issues. They couldn't deal with that. You take them from now. If they came up in an era, they could play in an era. But you can't take a guy that's used to being around, a black man that's used to being around white people. And I've been to Wilmington a lot of times, a lot. I've been to Wilmington a lot. You can't take a guy like Michael Jordan, how he grew up, and throw him in the 60s, in his 20s, and then tell him, here, you got to be around all black people. It doesn't work like that. A lot of you guys listen to this, y'all probably kill yourself if you couldn't be around white people. But that's it, man. That's life, man. Rest in peace to the great Bill Russell. His transition to be with the ancestors. This is All Positive Network. I'm Rashawn. I'll give you positive vibes and life lessons in this rain. Peace and blessings.